Welcome to Ask GC Anything. Coming up this week, we answer your questions on knee replacements, ketones, and when should you do a recovery ride. If you do have a question that you would like answered on the show, leave it in the comments below with the hashtag Torqueback, and to be in with a chance of winning a free 3-month subscription to Zwift, use the hashtag AskGCNTraining. Des White up with, I am a 70-year-old cyclist with a replacement knee, and I now use an e-bike to keep out on the road. I still have my road bike set up on a smart trainer, but I want to get it back out on the road again. Any tips for a good training regime? Well, Des, this is a brilliant question, and well done for getting back on the bike after your knee surgery. We recommend slowly building up the duration of your indoor rides to try and complement your ability to go back outside. Try and aim for around 4 to 5 active days each week, but don't feel the need to do consecutive hard days back to back. As we age, we need more time to recover, so you need to try and allow an easy day in between your harder or longer rides. Build up your longest ride each week by no more than 20 to 30 minutes to prevent overstressing yourself too much, and you should be well on the way back to your full fitness. Good luck and enjoy the journey. Oh, and one final thing, don't neglect your e-bike. They are the greatest invention of modern time in my mind, and it's a perfect tool to get back out on the road for longer rides if you're not 100% confident in how you're feeling. Next up is an interesting question from Birds on a Stick. Do you think it's a good idea to start taking exogenous ketones? Would it improve my endurance? My answer would be absolutely not. I mean, there's been too little research on a product that's been around for just under 15 years. How do you know what you're putting on your body if there aren't any studies to show the long-term effects on this product? It's a synthetic product, and I do believe that we should be quite careful with what we're putting into our bodies in that regard. It's also an unregulated supplement, so the quality of what you're actually purchasing, how do you know that it's up to standard? And then finally, it's only going to give you around a 2% performance boost. And is anything worth risking your health for 2% boost? I don't really think so. Try and eat healthily, try and train healthily, get your sleep. There are so many other ways to improve your performance, which is not taking a bit of a gamble on your health. This week's Zwift winner is Arthur Azulian, who has a question about sweet spot training. In the area he lives, there is just not many straights or long, steady climbs. It's more like small but tall hills. So my effort is always jumping up and down, and everything that's between the towns is motorways, so no cycling. Can you give any advice on how to emulate the sweet spot training in these conditions? As ever, this question gets sent off to Zwift, and their coaches send it back with the answer. And they start off by telling us just how good sweet spot training is. And of course, if you do have the perfect terrain, the longer intervals at your sweet spot level will be more ideal. However, it's okay to break it down. So for example, if your target in any given session was around 30 minutes of sweet spot, you can break that down into 5-minute chunks. So you do 6 reps of 5 minutes. So if you have a climb that's 5 minutes long, you ride up it at sweet spot, do a U-turn and head back down. Equally, if you have a road that's say 5 minutes or 7 minutes long, you do an interval of that length and then you turn around. And if you are doing U-turns on the road, then of course you can just do sweet spot on the way back as well, if it's on a flat road, that is. Sweet spot training on flat roads are incredibly effective for your all-round performance. And they actually go on to suggest that now that you have that free 3-month subscription, you can try doing some of your sweet spot training indoors, where it will open up a variety of different terrains to you that you perhaps don't have in your local area. And I guess that is the beauty of virtual reality training these days, isn't it? Next up is a question on descending from Dimebag 5884. Hi chaps, I'm new to road cycling this season and I'm having a great time with solo and group rides. However, I really struggle with descents. I'm very timid, particularly around corners, and I find myself grabbing fistfuls of brake. This is preventing me from riding with the better groups in my local club because I don't want to screw up their formation on the descents. Any tips for improving confidence on descending? Well, my first thing would be to try and start out on a descent at the back of your group and allow yourself a good few meters to the back of the group so you can watch the road ahead, but you can also watch what the riders in front of you are doing, the more experienced riders. You'll start to learn when they're braking and when they're starting to turn into the corner, how much lean they're putting on the bike and things like this. Try not to get too nervous on descents. It's actually really important to try and relax, as this is the best way for the bike to flow underneath you. And if you are still struggling, then try and take one of the more experienced riders in your group to one side and ask them for a little one-on-one tuition. Generally speaking, the more experienced riders on club rides will do anything to help newcomers and to try and help them feel like they're improving with their cycling. It's rewarding for them, but it will be rewarding for you too. Try and relax, try and enjoy the descent. They are the reward for the hard work getting to the top of the climb.
Now we've got observation covered, the next golden rule is never to exceed your limit. Actually, you want to ride within 90% of your limit. This will make descending a lot more fun and enjoyable.
Kibrick up next with a question on recovery. Hello, and thanks for the great videos as always. While I was up on the internet, I've noticed people mentioning recovery rides. Why and when do I need this, and how is it to be done? Well, there's a brilliant video here on how to recover. The idea of a recovery ride is to help accelerate your recovery. So the day after a big event, when your muscles are really sore and really tired, it will actually help to flush all of those toxins and all of the lactate out of your muscles and increase your ability to recover and get yourself ready back for another training ride. It's the sort of ride you do in between hard sessions. It'll help flush out that residual fatigue and soreness.
Now, before we start to explain exactly how to do a recovery ride, what actually is one supposed to do then? Well, it is a way of gently boosting blood flow around the body through gentle exercise. And then the theory is that it will help deliver nutrients to your damaged muscles and also start to flush out some of the waste products from them that will have accumulated through hard training.
Holdfast Cyclist wants to know, what are the difference between a hack and a bodge? I've watched this segment of your weekly GCN show and I'm yet to figure out the defining characteristics of these terms. And I think, to be really honest, no one knows. I would perhaps say that a bodge is an unnecessarily forced repair, something that you could have avoided, and a hack is something that genuinely improves an item. I'm not sure if that's a little bit vague. There is no grading system, and basically it depends on the photo that's been submitted. Quinn Hughes wants to know about shoes. If the old adage says not to use brand new shoes on race day or any big ride, how do the pros ride in shoes with one-off designs? Do they ride in them prior to race day or during training or recon? Or do they cover them prior to an unveiling? Well, it's a good question, but from experience and having seen how every other rider around me did it, you would generally use a new pair of shoes in the week leading up to the event, maybe on the indoor trainer to set them up. But to be really honest, a pro is so in tune with their setup that they can probably throw a set of cleats onto a pair of shoes and know within minutes whether they are accurately set up or not, and not have to worry about any niggling side effects that could be caused by setting up new shoes. Vincent Pribish would like to know how to recover from a respiratory illness. How quickly can you get back out on the bike? Our advice is, as always, to listen to your body and don't overdo it, especially with respiratory illnesses, as they can easily flare back up again. So start by 30-minute rides indoors, perhaps at a low intensity, and once you've done one or two of those back to back, you can start to increase either the duration or the intensity. You certainly don't want to increase both of them at the same time, as you could end up digging yourself a bigger hole. Expect it to take around 3 times the duration to get back to full fitness than your period of illness was. So if you were off for 2 weeks, it could take 6, maybe even a little bit longer to get back to the fitness you had before. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. The best thing to do is accept that early on and rebuild slowly. Johannes Bilgeri writes in with, my toes hurt when I do a century ride. Is this just a thing that cyclists have to get used to, and have you experienced similar pain? Well, yes, I've definitely experienced similar pain, but that's generally because I either had a pair of shoes that didn't vent that well, and something you could do to get around that is to drill holes in the bottom of the soles, or because I really like to clamp my shoes up tight to prevent any loose movement within the shoe, and then generally my toes will go numb after doing that. Heat can cause your feet to swell, and is that happening? Is that causing your nerves to be trapped and then you're losing the sensation in your feet? In which case, an orthotic insole can absolutely work wonders. Now, really good ones aren't cheap at all. They're probably the price of a very expensive pair of shoe, but they will absolutely transform your comfort on the bike. And generally speaking then, you can have one set of insoles that you can transfer from shoe to shoe to shoe over the years. I know riders that have had their insoles for around 10 years and they're still going strong. Whilst they could have them remade every single year, there isn't always any point. Orthotic insoles honestly do more to help your comfort on the bike than almost anything else. Good luck with your quest. Start by perhaps trying to find some venting on your shoes. Kim Jaku wants to know how to wear leg warmers properly. Do you pull them over your shorts or do you put them underneath? Well, I suppose traditionally they should be worn underneath. This isn't always that comfortable though, so if you want to go for comfort, I'd recommend pulling them over the top. This gets rid of that little bit of chafing if you have bigger thighs, where the saddle and the top of the leg warmer can often meet. If you want to wear them underneath and get rid of that chafing, then you can turn the elastic over. That often works quite well. And if you want to look like a Belgian cyclist, something which every young rider did when I was younger, you would always wear them over the top as well, and then put your socks over the top of your leg warmers, although that's a dying trend, fortunately. If you want to keep your sponsors happy, always wear your leg warmers underneath your shorts, otherwise you'll be blocking the visibility of any sponsor on your shorts. Question up from Miguel Says, who is about to arrive home to his first power meter, which is going to be quite an exciting event. Is it fundamental to have an FTP test as soon as possible? Or can I do that in a period of time after I've adapted to training with the power numbers? My advice would actually be to continue your current training regime for around 2 to 4 weeks. That way you get to collect data on what you've already been doing and you won't be adjusting too many things. Often when someone gets a power meter, they become obsessed with the power number on their screen and then negate all the other aspects of fitness that there are. They forget how to pedal, they forget their heart rate, they forget their own perceived exertion. So build up a bit of a back catalogue on using a power meter as a data collector in the background. And then once you've done that, you can start to look to actually train with that power meter. And after around 4 weeks, you'll have already gauged quite a good estimation of your FTP from your current training. And then you can start to work with the power numbers moving forwards and do a dedicated FTP test, or use clever online software which can estimate your FTP for you as well. Good luck and enjoy. You've got a whole new world of data crunching to get stuck into. And the final question this week comes in from Louis Solegui. I'm so sorry if I've ruined your name. Hi guys, I'm struggling with the pain on my rear end since I started working on my sprints. Right after a maximum effort at the saddle, I then sit back on the bike and feel a dull pain right where my hip bone meets the saddle. The pain lasts for a few seconds and then goes away completely, only to come back after another round of sprinting. Could my technique be wrong? Is it a bike fit issue? Or maybe I'm just not built for sprinting? Well, to me, Louis, it sounds like you're maybe struggling with something called bursitis, which is the hardening of the soft gel pad that runs underneath the connective tissue of your muscles onto the bone. If these become inflamed, they can give quite a dull or sharp pain in extreme cases. And something that you can do to alleviate that is to start trying to massage that point. So if that point's really hurting, you can even dig the nose of your saddle into it whilst you're on the bike. That'll give you a good indicator if this is actually the issue. Strengthening the opposing muscle groups around it, so your hips, and then stretching those muscle groups as well. If all of that fails, then you can try and have your hip bones measured or your sit bones measured and see if they actually match up to the saddle. And there are certain places you can go which do essentially undercarriage mapping to try and determine which saddle is actually perfectly matched to you. Good luck. Don't be concerned about it. It's not the fact that you're not built for sprinting. There's another issue going on which you can probably quite easily solve. Hopefully that helps. That's it for this week. If you do have a question, remember to use the hashtag Torqueback, and to be in with a chance of winning a free 3-month subscription to Zwift, use the hashtag AskGCNTraining. You can do that in the comments below, over on Twitter or even on Instagram. If you like my Italian themed t-shirt, why not check out shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com and try and get one for yourself. If you want to see another video, click over here right now. And if you found this show useful, do give me a big thumbs up.